We're going to start our journey at CP Wampum, and we're going to be going downstream on the Beaver River, track direction east towards Beaver Falls. And I think we'll have some pretty fun things to see along the way. You can see up ahead of me the lights of CP Wampum for eastbound traffic all stop, and the bridge overhead is where the Norfolk Southern Youngstown Line crosses the Beaver River, which you can't see because of the trees, but there's a bridge there, and then crosses over the CSX Pittsburgh Line. So here's where our journey begins. Well, here we are at our first point of interest, the eastbound signals for CP Wampum. As you can see, all red. Now, what's nice about this route is that since it's necks into single track up here, which you probably can't see because of the fog, but I'll show you presently, there's a fair amount of relatively closely spaced signals, which means that you're generally going to know if something's coming. And they only come on once we get past here when there is something coming. So if you got no signal, you know you're safe. And if you do get a signal, you're going to know if it's coming up behind you if it's red, or if it's coming towards you if it's green. I'm going to pause this for just a second, since watching me walk is probably not the most interesting thing in the world. Alright, so we're now at the eastern side of CP Wampum. And something of interest is, you can see here, actually, pardon me, that was a bit dumb of me. I got things backwards. The signals that I was looking at, actually no I didn't, that was for westbound traffic. But you can see here that this line, which was once double tracked all the way from Beaver Falls to Wampum, necks down into a single track. Past Wampum, it opens back up into double track going towards Newcastle Yard. And I don't know if you can see, yep, there we go. It shows up. So we got red both ways. And we're just gonna go ahead and continue our journey. Well, not too far from CP Wampum, which if you pan around, you can kind of see it out there. It's a little bit obscured by fog, but I can see it better with my naked eyes than through the camera. I'm not sure how that'll translate whenever I actually post this. But not too far away, maybe 100 yards, a little more. You got this pipe for conveying I do not know what that runs down here, and there's what I would assume to be some kind of control box or something. It looks like it's been abandoned for a while. I don't feel like trying to climb those stairs, falling through them and breaking a leg or something like that, but I think you get the idea. Still all red, so we're still safe. We just need to check our 6 every 10 paces or so, like we're back in the army again. Let's continue our journey. Well, here we are at another point of interest, milepost 40. Milepost 40. There's a nice curve coming that way. And we are still, though I'm not sure you'll be able to see it, we're still in view of CP Wampum. I don't know if you can hear that as well, but it certainly sounds like there's something coming, probably on the Youngstown line across the river, which is that way. And let's see. I'll get up a little closer. You can probably see the river a little bit through the trees there. Don't worry though, we'll get some better views of the river later on. And so we continue. We just had our first train go by. It was an eastbound, mixed freight. Something that's kind of fun to see here. First off, you can see that this section has concreted ties. And hopefully you could hear it when the train was going by or when it was coming. The rails sing. You will absolutely hear that long before a train is ever around. So that's a good warning system, and it's something that I do appreciate being there. Also, you can see across the track where the river has cut through the stone. You see stone face there, and as you move up, there's more. This river used to be quite a bit higher, but it's gradually cut down all the way down to there, if you can see it, which I hope you can. Don't worry if you can't, we'll see more of the river later. And it looks like there's something up there, but I'm not sure what. I know there's a couple of flange oilers on this route. That may be one, I can't tell, but I'll let you know. So we're at the first of many small little streams and trickles that come down the hill and that cross under culverts, through the tracks, and that feed down into the Beaver River. You can see the railing over there. And this, like I said, is going to be the first of many. There's a couple that are a little more impressive than this guy. If I'd have been here 2 weeks ago, there might not have been anything flowing down here. We'd had a drought for quite some time. But it's rained recently, and so we have some flow, which is nice because further on down there's some more scenic stuff that will look better with some water going down it. We'll continue on. Well, we're at milepost 39. See some pretty nice sweeping views. Nice little straightaway here. And from looking at the timestamps, I'm making about 3 miles an hour. A little slower than that overall because of stopping to film things like that train. But we're moving along like we want to. So, I'll see you guys later. Well, you may remember me talking about a waterfall, sort of. Or at least little streams. And here we are. We are almost within view of milepost 38. And we can see this little stream. Hopefully you can see it coming down. You can also see up there where the river had scoured and undercut the rock. And actually beyond there, up above that line, is the Norfolk Southern Koppel sub. I've actually hiked that a few times, so I may have to do it again. But you can see it's pretty rocky here. Part of me would like to go up a little higher, and I may try and get a better shot, or at least pictures of that up there. But you can also see how the water comes down and flows right on under the tracks. Nice little side diversion. I'm going to stop this, see if I can get some nicer pictures for everybody. But this is not the first of these that we're going to see. There's quite a few on both sides of the river. Well, we're at milepost 38, just a little bit past it. There's the sun, and just to our right is one of our control points. As you can see, lights are not lit, so we got nothing going on right now. You can probably also hear the sound of another waterfall that we're going to be looking at in a minute. But I did say that we'd get some river views, so I think I'm going to go ahead and show you that first. Well, unfortunately, this is not the river view that I'd hoped to show you, assuming you can see it at all. As it turns out, since I've been here last, that area got overgrown so badly that even if I'd have brought a machete, I don't think I'd have been able to make it down to the riverbank. But we're near Rock Point. We will see this from the other side of the river. And so for right now, I thought I'd show you this. Got an old foundation of what I would imagine was probably a tank of some sort. Sorry about shaking the camera, I had a bug on my arm. But, you know, you can see just the outline of the wall here. And there's a couple of blocks, so I assume there was some kind of storage tank, maybe water, maybe fuel oil, who knows. This wall here that you can see was not like that the last time I was here. There was the remnants of a wall, but it hadn't been built up like this. I know that people come down here and camp, so that might be someone doing that. And I don't know if you can see any of the waterfall in the background, but I'm going to show that to you presently. Well, everybody, here's part of the waterfall. This is about as far up as I'm going to attempt to go, maybe. It's slick as snot, and I really do not want to leave my wife widowed and my children orphaned. But as we kind of crane up here, hopefully you can see that arch. That is an old masonry railroad bridge. It's almost circular, and it carries the Pennsylvania Railroad's Koppel sub over this creek. So I may see if I can get a better shot at it, but I'll definitely get one when I hike the Koppel sub. But trying to approach this from the bottom can be a little bit daunting. Again, if it had been 2 weeks ago, you probably barely have any of this water that we see here. The rocks would have been a lot drier and less slippery. But as it is, I think I've risked mechanical injury enough. So we'll be on our way shortly. So I think it was Einstein who said that the difference between genius and stupidity is that genius has its limits. And right now I think I'm kind of making his point for him. I had to go up and get you a better view of this bridge. You could see that is sturdy. That is a lot of masonry. That bridge will probably be here 1,000 years after we're all dead and buried. It's just very impressive and somewhat worth the hike. I'm hoping I don't break my neck or some other bone or something like that on the way down. And hopefully I make it down in a controlled fashion. But to my wife and kids, I love you if I don't. And I'm just going to shut my mouth now and just let you enjoy this. Well, earlier I was talking about an Einstein quote about the limits of stupidity versus genius. I got another quote. I believe it was Bismarck who said that God has a special place of mercy or benevolence or something along those lines for drunks, idiots, and Americans. I'm not drunk, but I am an American, and I feel like I kind of proved the whole idiot thing going up there. That was not my brightest maneuver. So I'm going to take 5, get my breath, indulge my nicotine addiction, and make some fervent prayer to our Lord for his providence and protection. And then we'll continue on our journey soon. All right, everybody. Having survived climbing up to get that picture and video of the waterfall, we're about to bid milepost 38 adieu. But before we do, and we proceed on our journey, I want to take a quick look and see if we can get some better views of the river, because if you go a little further past where I was at, it's not quite so much of the jungle. In fact, this is kind of pleasant. Now, there is a bit of a cliff here, and tell you what, I'm going to pause this for just a second and then we'll give you the big reveal of the river. So, the waterfall and the creek that I braved death and, maiming to go and get video of ends here, where it empties into the beautiful Beaver River. The bridge there carries the Norfolk Southern Youngstown Line over Connoquenessing Creek, which is directly in front of us, where it empties into the lovely Beaver River. We'll actually be seeing that from the other side once we get down further and cross the river. But for now, again, I'm just going to shut my mouth and let you all just kind of take in the view with me. Okay, I think this time I actually mean it about continuing on our journey. We're back at milepost 38. We can see that the signals aren't lit, so probably no trains coming for the near future. When we get down to that bend, we'll just take a last look, make sure that they're still not lit, and we'll just continue on our journey. Well, everybody, I can't say that we're at about the halfway point for time, because I don't know exactly how long this video is going to end up being, but for me and my aching feet, we're almost at the halfway point. You can see up ahead of us, that is an abandoned bridge that took the PL&E over the Beaver River, which is off the camera left, and up towards Ellwood City, which would be up that way. And I will be telling you more about that bridge and showing you more when I get there. Thanks for having stuck around so far. I hope you enjoy it, and we're going to keep going. Hey everybody, it's Mr. Miz. I have a question for you. Do you like hiking or trains, waterfalls, and scenic river views? Would you like to see some of these sights along the beautiful Beaver River? But do you not like the idea of hiking miles over railroad ballast that'll leave you feeling like you've been beaten pretty severely the next day? Do you not want to particularly hike over this abandoned railroad bridge? Well, if that's the case, then you're in luck, brother, because I'm going to do all this and even more. So join me soon as I take you on a fabulous hike down the lovely Beaver River along CSX's Pittsburgh Line and the Norfolk Southern Youngstown Line. Video will be coming soon. Thank you. Have a great day, and I hope you'll tune in and enjoy it with me. I decided to go to the far side of the bridge so that the sun isn't in my eyes, and yours since you're watching. But you may have remembered that I said that this used to be the PL&E line. I forgot to point it out on the earlier control points, but you can see it's even marked here on the bridge. We're at milepost 37.1. I think that's milepost 37 up there. It's a little bit difficult to tell with the sun in my face, but in order to complete our journey, we're going to have to go across this bridge, and I'll be taking you. So before we get to the bridge crossing itself, I thought I'd show you this. If you remember, there was a gap that you could see from down there. Well, I'm currently in that gap. Definitely people have camped here. You can see the condition of the bridge. Not too bad. I'd give it 3.6 Roentgen. Not great, not terrible. We'll be crossing soon. Stay with me, and I hope you enjoy. All right, enough teasing you. Let's cross this bridge, shall we? It's fairly overgrown here, and you can see back here where there used to be a line. There was talk of converting this into rails or trails. As of when I'm recording this, I don't know if they're going to proceed or not. But hopefully, it would be nice for this to be a little more accessible than to have to hike. Because I'll tell you right now, my feet are already starting to hurt. And these boots, I've had them for 20 years. Over 20 years, actually, which is kind of depressing now that I say it aloud. But I got these when I was in ROTC. So this part of the bridge, as you can see, is completely grassed over and overgrown. There's solid concrete underneath. But as we continue on, you're probably going to start to see that now there's no longer concrete underneath us. There is this old walkway here. I would not recommend using it. This bridge has been abandoned since the early to mid 80s. I don't know the exact year, but if you're old enough to remember the Reagan administration, that's the last time this bridge was in use. Now, my thought, whenever I cross this bridge, is to stay here. You can kind of see, and you might actually see it better a little later, there's right on top of the I-beam. So I should be relatively safe. If the beam isn't going to collapse under its own weight, I don't think it's going to collapse under mine, however fat I may be. So let's get crossing, shall we? All right. As I've said in the past, it's been a while since I crossed this bridge. But you can kind of see it's a nice view. And also, you can see in a couple places like here, where the ties have rotted out and ATV riders had put down boards to drive over. So we'll just keep on walking, not looking down, not looking down. Well, we're going to take a pause here real quick and take a look at the river. As we pan around, you can see the Norfolk Southern Youngstown line over there. You can also see the piers for the old trolley bridge and current highway bridge. Let's continue, shall we? That noise you're hearing is occasionally my foot's hitting a tie plate. And you know, we got a nice little break. And you can see we're about, I don't know, 25, 30 feet up from the river. Here we're right over a pier. You can kind of see that there. And again, there's our view. I don't know about you. I like it. I think it's a pretty nice view. Provided I don't drop my camera, well, my phone. Then I would be in a world of hurt. Not because I can't get out of here or anything, but because this would not be the first time I lost the phone to what my wife would term a foolish misadventure. I don't know that she would actually use that term, but that's the term I'm using. But we're just going to keep pressing on. We're almost to the end. I'm kind of keeping a half an eye out here in occasionally you'll see date marks on the tie plates. I'd be kind of interested to see when these were put in. I may take a minute here when we get onto firmer ground to take a look at the rails as well. So I just lucked out. I don't know if you saw that, but I walked over the remains of a hornet nest. Running into a hornet nest up here would be fairly unfortunate. When I was in the Army, we might have called that a significant emotional event. So we're going to kind of scramble over that fallen tree branch, hopefully without losing our glasses, because again, that would be one of those things that the wife would term unfortunate. And it would, in fact, be very unfortunate for me. So we're navigating through trees at this point. You can see how overgrown things have become. So we're clear of the river now. We've gotten past the river. If you look down, we're over open ground. And as we keep on moving, we're going to end up crossing over the Youngstown Line. So we'll keep on moving. Stupid trees. Oh, that was a bit thrilling. Part of a tie collapsed under my foot. Here we go again through more trees. You know, looking down here, it's been a while since anybody crossed this. Certainly it's been a while since I've done it, but you can kind of see from the moss there's not too much in the way of activity here. And we're back to concrete, which is nice. So let's cross over. We got solid ground under our feet again, which is a good feeling. And we are now coming to the Norfolk Southern Youngstown Line. So unfortunately, I did not take the time when I was crossing the bridge to turn around and give you a view of the way we came, but as I said, this isn't the first time I've crossed it. I've got some pictures. They may be older, but I'll go ahead and post them. Hope you had as much fun as I did, and let's continue our journey. So a little earlier I mentioned that that bridge carried the PL&E line up into Ellwood City. I'm actually walking the remains of that line right now. It's used quite a lot for hikers and dirtback riders. And you can see it runs parallel and a little bit higher up than the Youngstown Line, out and up towards upstream. There's also a lot of rock walls out through here. Retaining walls to kind of hold things back, keep the line open. There, occasionally, you will come onto a tie. I haven't seen any yet. I know there's some that were back in the other direction. And in the interest of my feet, I think I'm just going to keep pressing forward. Really, how fascinating can an old tie be? But we're also coming up to a gap here. Should give you a better idea of where this line used to rest in relation to the Youngstown Line. You can see there's some power line overhead. And then down below us, if you can see it, the Youngstown Line. So we're going to carry on, and if you find large rocks interesting, stay tuned, because we got some. This whole area is festooned with pretty decent sized boulders, some of them the size of a house. But we'll get to that. Alright, so we've come off that line, which you can see is right above us there, and onto a switchback. Fair amount of stones that were once here, and a pleasant little walk. This was once, I believe, part of Rock Point Park, which we're going to take a look at shortly. But this area has since, largely been abandoned, except for hikers, probably some hunters down through here, though I haven't really seen or heard anything at this point. And then, people who like trains and doing YouTube videos. But as you can see, pretty rocky, but otherwise not too bad. Well, we've now made it to the Youngstown line of Norfolk Southern. This bridge here carries the line over Connoquenessing Creek, where it empties into the mouth of the Beaver River. We'll try and get a view of this without trespassing. But you can kind of see down through there. There's Connoquenessing Creek. And there's where it empties into the Beaver River. Something that I noticed that was kind of interesting as I was coming across here. The tie plates, I mentioned that earlier. There's some of them here that are pretty dang old. '85, not 35. But that's a bit disappointing. But you can see here, 1940. 1940. We have some old tie plates out here. And if I can find it again, is it possible that that's 1937 rail? I find it hard to believe, but crazier things have happened. For example, looks like 1939 to me. I could be wrong, of course, but there is definitely some old infrastructure out here. We're also at Rock Point. I don't know how well you can kind of see it through the trees, but there is a very large point of rock up there, hence the name. But we're going to continue on our journey, headed back towards Wampum on the Youngstown line. So as we depart from Rock Point, you can see there's quite a lot of rocks behind those trees. Certainly this area earned its name. I actually thought about maybe going up there and doing a little bit of exploring with you, but in the interest of time, I think I'll come back. I don't think I can do justice to that place without investing more time than I really have to right now. So we're going to keep on heading back towards Wampum on the Youngstown line, and we'll have some pretty cool sights to see on the way. Hopefully you can see this, but there's a small island, little back channel, and beyond that is, I think, the main channel of the Beaver River. And as we keep on walking down the line, as we have been, we come to some signals. They're not lit, so shouldn't be anything coming anytime soon. But it's good to, take a look at them and just see how things are. We may take a look at the other side when we get there. So we're on the other side. That's milepost 84 south. We were earlier looking at 84 north. You can see the communication tower there. The signal isn't lit. As we pan over here, you can see a base, an old one that's no longer used, and then the new one here. There's a solar panel. If we pan over, there's another solar panel. There's the base of the old, what I assume would be solar panels, but I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. And then a nice little straightaway for us to continue our journey. So we've arrived at what to me is really, truly the highlight of this hike. As we kind of pan up, we see this beautiful waterfall that is completely chained in on either side by this massive heavy masonry. Those blocks are about 18 inches tall. So you can get an idea of just how tall this is by taking a look. I've seen this with a lot more water coming over it, but even as it is, I think it's pretty damn nice. I've always loved coming out here. This makes this whole hike worthwhile to see, at least to me, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. Well, we've made it all the way to mile marker 83 on the Youngstown line. Behind us, you might just barely be able to see the bridge from the waterfall that we just passed. We're getting closer to home. And honestly, I'm kind of glad. This was a fun hike, but my dogs are barking, and they're going to be barking worse before this is all over. Thanks for staying with me as long as you have. Well, this oiler here marks where our journey on the railroad ends and where we'll be taking to the regular road here in a bit. Beyond me, you can see some houses, and beyond that curve, this line crosses the Beaver River. It actually has a merge with the Koppel sub that I mentioned earlier, and proceeds out towards Youngstown. So we've gone about as far as we can go here. There'll be a little bit more, but we're coming to the end. Well, we're almost at our journey's end. Down the river there is the Youngstown line crossing the Beaver River, which looks to be down a little bit, which makes sense. Even after the rain we've had recently, we're still probably in a drought or close to it. But we're almost there. So here's the other end of the Youngstown line, crossing over CSX. And as we kind of pull around here, you can see the line, and it goes up, and the Koppel sub actually merges in with it back over that way. But what I kind of wanted to show you was this here. This bridge carrying the line over this small creek. And, you know, if you haven't kind of gotten the impression by now, the Pennsylvania Railroad, they just absolutely loved masonry. At least back in the day they did. They talked about building a line that would last 1,000 years, and probably they were correct. Absolutely beautiful work out here. The earlier bridge that carried the Koppel sub over that other creek, same thing. The waterfall that was masonryed in is also Pennsylvania Railroad. Just very, very impressive, and something that I always stop and take a minute to look at whenever I'm down this way in Wampum. Well, that's our journey's end. There's CP Wampum again, where we started from. Kind of follow that line out, and if we keep going in that direction, we'd find ourselves in Newcastle after a little while. For those of you who are keeping any kind of track, that's highlights of about 5 miles of hiking. And if you're still with me, I hope you enjoyed. I really do hope that that I showed you some things that maybe you wouldn't have had a chance to see. And if you did like it, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video, subscribe to my channel, and comment if you have any questions about where things are, how I got there. I'd be more than happy to answer you. And if I made any mistakes, which I feel certain I did, there are people out there that are way more knowledgeable than me. Definitely. So, anyways, anything you want to do to help this channel, I would truly appreciate it, so I can keep making videos like this that I hope people can get some enjoyment out of. That's all for me. Thank you for sticking around. Have a great day.